In a small farming town in southern Chile, the Morales family lived in a modest home at the edge of the valley. To their neighbors, they seemed ordinary. Camila Morales, just 29, was devoted to her young son and often walked him to school with a smile. Her husband, Hector, was a hard-working mechanic who spent long hours at his shop. But behind those walls, a different story was unfolding. Hector's temper was infamous. Friends and relatives recalled how he slowly cut Camila off from everyone she loved. He decided who she could see, where she could go, even what clothes she should wear. At first, Camila hid the bruises and made excuses. But over time, people noticed her nervous glances and her growing silence. By October 2018, the tension in the Morales home was unbearable. Camila had begun talking quietly to a cousin about leaving Hector and starting fresh with her son. But that choice would never come. On October 14th, Camila disappeared. She never showed up to collect her child from school. Her parents immediately knew something was wrong. Camila would never abandon her son. When they asked Hector, his explanation was simple. She left me. She ran off with another man. But investigators saw through his story almost instantly. Camila's purse, her phone, and her ID were all still inside the house. Nothing was missing. It looked less like she had left, and more like she had been silenced. Police began tracking Hector's movements. Surveillance cameras caught his truck leaving the house around midnight, heading toward a deserted dirt road near the riverbank. When investigators searched the area, they found tire tracks, gasoline residue, and a half-burned blanket. Hidden inside were bone fragments, later confirmed by DNA to belong to Camila. The town was horrified. A young mother, full of dreams, reduced to ashes. But the investigation had only just begun. Forensic teams uncovered even more evidence. Security footage from a local store showed Hector purchasing gasoline and matches just hours before Camila vanished. Neighbors testified they heard shouting in the Morales home that night, followed by the roar of Hector's truck speeding away. Confronted with the evidence, Hector finally confessed. He admitted that he and Camila had argued. She wanted to leave, and he couldn't stand the thought of losing control. In a fit of rage, he struck her. When she collapsed and stopped moving, instead of calling for help, he panicked. To cover his crime, he drove her body to the riverbank, wrapped in a blanket, and set it on fire. The trial was swift but emotional. Camila's parents and siblings sat in the courtroom, clutching her son, who was too young to understand why his mother would never come home. Witness after witness described Hector's jealousy, his possessiveness, and the years of quiet abuse that built up to this tragedy. In the end, the jury took less than 2 hours to find him guilty of femicide and destruction of evidence. Hector was sentenced to life in prison without parole. But for Camila's family, justice could never heal the wound. A mother had been stolen from her child, and a community had been shaken to its core. Her story spread across Chile, sparking marches and protests against domestic violence, with her name painted on banners. Justice for Camila. Today, Camila is remembered not just for the way she died, but for the way she lived. A kind, devoted mother whose only dream was to raise her son in peace. Her case became a reminder that love poisoned by control and jealousy can quickly turn fatal, and that silence often hides the most dangerous truths. This is the story of Camila Morales, a woman whose light was stolen, but whose memory continues to fuel the fight for justice.